sweet this year.
Even the juiciest plum is not as sweet as you. We're alone for once.
The girls will be back any minute.
Let's lock them out.
They will all be up at the X's for a party on Saturday, and the boys will be with Ruth and Henry working on the barn. We will have the whole day to ourselves.
How'd you manage that?
I have my ways. It's so good to have you home. Everyone's spirits are lifted when you're home. The children are so happy to have their father here.
I need to talk with you.
About what?
Now that the harvest is done, I will be going east.
You're leaving again after only 2 months. What's so important out east?
Our abolitionist friends in Boston, you know who I mean, Reverend Higginson, Mr. Forbes, and the others, have asked me to come and speak about our work. They've been exceedingly generous in supplying us with what we need, and they're raising funds for more supplies.
By supplies, you mean swords and muskets?
Yes.
What about flour and lard and feed for the livestock?
The enemies of freedom are gathering strength. We must do the same. It's all out war from now on.
I hate that.
There's no other way to fight evil on this scale.
What about changing the laws?
Crooked politicians will never do away with slavery. Their legislation is empty words. Their compromises fall short. It's up to us to end slavery everywhere, now and for eternity.
Why must our family bear such a heavy burden? Are there no single men to take the lead?
I'm afraid your tender sympathies prevent you from seeing clearly. This is a battle between God's way and the devil's. The slavery faction will do anything to win new territory. Pro-slavery boys from Missouri flooded Kansas to sway the vote. They stole the election, they cheated, and then they ransacked Lawrence, destroyed our printing presses, burned buildings, looted homes. But you know all this, Mary. That's why we went to Kansas to fight back.
Name of Kansas. I hate the very name of Kansas. We lost one son there already. Frederick is dead, John, and we will never see him again in this life. Shot dead, and for what?
Frederick died for the cause of freedom.
Freedom? What does that mean? Sacrificing our son so another may live?
I mourn for him too. I will never rest until I avenge Frederick.
Both sides lost men that were fathers, sons, brothers. Their women mourn for them as well. Their children will also be fatherless. Don't you see that?
Frederick died doing God's work.
What of John Jr.? He is lost to us as well. His wife says that he paces about the farm muttering he cannot work. He is damaged by this violence. His mind poisoned, his soul wounded.
I will pray for his recovery.
It is too late for praying, John.
Whatever it takes, we must continue our fight to abolish that evil institution.
Whatever it takes, you say? Are you now willing to murder in God's name?
I will do as the Lord commands. When I empty myself of my will, God speaks to me.
God tells you to kill?
God never lets me forget that Negro men, women, and children, slaves, are killed every day. They are raped and tortured and put in chains. Mothers and their children are separated and sold at auction like cattle. I've seen this with my own eyes.
I know, but there
We
has
have
been...
waited for the South to come to its senses. But they will never do away with slavery as long as it's profitable for them. And as long as the Negro is not free, we are all in bondage. God has put a sword in my hand, and he expects me to use it.
I will not condone murder.
We are God's warriors.
I am worried about the souls of your warriors. About John Jr. and Owen and Salmon and Ruth Sweet Henry. What about your soul, John? What about yours?
Do not worry for our souls, my dear. God in heaven is in charge.
But here on earth where our children must live, terrible things have happened. Things that have changed the boys' hearts. They say since they came back from Kansas, they don't want to use weapons. I want to know exactly what happened. 5 men died. Who killed them?
We took some pro-slavery men prisoner. Later they were killed.
John, I have seen the papers. They say these men were dragged from their homes in the middle of the night and cut to pieces by swords, the bloody remains left by the side of the road for their families to discover. One of them was only a boy of 17. Did you do this, John? Did you stick a sword through a man's body? Did you?
I led my men into battle as their general.
So you commanded our sons to murder these men? I have a right to know what happened. Tell me.
It's not safe for you to know everything. There are people who want to hunt me down and kill me. The less you know, the better, and the sooner I leave.
John, you look me in the eye and you tell me what happened. You're not going to tell me.
I'm sorry.
When are you leaving?
Tomorrow morning.
And when will you come back?
I cannot say.
Are you going to Virginia? You are, aren't you? You're going to raid the arsenal of Harper's Ferry. I knew it. And then what? Do you really think the slaves will take up arms and revolt against their masters? And what if they don't? What then, John? Are you trying to start a war, John Brown?
I'm going out to clean the stable.
Well, you can sleep there, too.
I will sleep where I please.
We're not together as we used to be.